Year.
Hey guys, welcome to the Honey Bunches of Goats podcast, episode number 5. What up?
What it do, guys?
I got 5 on it.
Got it? Grab your phone, let's get it.
So, guys, let's cheer to this fifth episode that we officially have finished. Salud, guys.
Salud.
To my brothers here.
And salud to you guys. Hopefully, you guys are listening. If not, we'll hope soon you guys will be listening.
Yeah, hopefully, you guys are taking a shot of Henny with us as you're listening to our podcast. So,
take out Henny, take out whatever you got. Patron, Casamigos,
tequila,
whatever you guys want.
Damn, trying to get them lit city.
Take a shot for us, you heard?
Anyways, guys, let's jump into our first topic of the day. What the hell was that this weekend? Mariñez and Romero.
I don't even want to talk about it, but in order to get the facts straightened out, we have to talk about this.
Talk about that fight. All right, guys. Well, as you may know, this weekend there was a lot of events, boxing, MMA, NBA playoffs started, but there was a fight. I think it was a lightweight title fight between Jackson Mariñez and Rolando Rolly Romero. I'm just going to get into it. Romero was gifted a decision in what could possibly be robbery of the year. Maybe robbery of the past 5 years. I mean, some people don't think that it's that bad, like the Pacquiao Bradley fight, but it was it was pretty bad. It was bad.
Yeah, Rolly Romero, he definitely got blessed with a decision that it was beyond me.
Mayweather fighter, a Mayweather promotion fighter.
I think that's one of the benefits of being signed to the TMT promotion company.
The
money team. Because apparently you could gift yourself to a win, without actually winning the fight.
Exactly. Well, I mean, what did you have it? I had it. You said you had it 2 rounds, right?
If I was going to be generous, I would give Romero maybe like 4 rounds. But even that, bro, like I had
10-2?
Yeah, I had Rolly.
He was down 10-2.
Yeah, for sure. Mariñez, you could clearly see that he was a more cleaner fighter. He threw more velocity with him. Compared to Rolly, he was more stiff, very predictable, and towards the later rounds, he was just missing everything and not even throwing anything.
Yeah, I saw the fight after the fact when people on Twitter were like going crazy on how bad the decision was. So I came in watching it with the mindset like, okay, you know what? Let me see what the judges saw, and to be very generous, very, very generous to Rolando Romero. I had him losing the fight 8-4. I could see if you were being super, super generous, you could possibly give him 5 rounds, maybe, but that's being extremely generous to the point of it's absurd.
Yeah. Look, I got to the point where I was so upset and so pissed off, I wanted to throw my phone. Just because you could tell in Mariñez's body language, even throughout the later rounds.
He was in control. He was cool, calm, collected.
He was so confident in himself. He was towards the end of the rounds. He was even showboating.
Yeah.
He was body language, comfortable, raising his hands after all the finishing rounds because he knew, you know, he was so confident, just like all of us watching in.
Yeah.
He won the fight.
He clearly won the fight. And what the hell was up with that 118-110 card?
Yes. So
how can you give Romero 10 rounds?
So this judge, Frank Lombardi.
He's a veteran. There were actually, I think, all 3 of them were veteran judges.
Yes. So we have Glenn Fieldman.
Yeah.
Frank Lombardi and Don Torella.
I believe it was 116-112, 115-113, and 118-110.
Yes, which 118-110.
Yeah.
What the
10 rounds?
And excuse my language, guys, but what the fuck?
Yeah, that shit was bullshit,
What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And look, and this is why, you know, as much as I love boxing, and so do you guys, this is what taints the sport.
Yeah, this is what makes people kind of like shy away from. I mean, although sometimes you can argue it's good that some type of controversy can like create some type of buzz for the sport. But I think in this regard, every time when it comes to boxing, when it comes to boxing and when it comes to presenting the sport as like, you know, without any type of controversy, hey, you know, it's it's a bad thing for boxing. I had the fight, like being generous, like I said, 8 rounds to 4. Marinez was just utilizing his jab. Despite what Rolando Romero was saying after the fight, he was like, "Oh, I landed the power shots and I was controlling the fight." And no, bro,
No.
Marinez, if you look at the punch stat, landed more jabs and power shots, threw more jabs and power shots, and the whole fight, you just see Romero was kind of like getting desperate to a certain point. You know?
and if we're talking
He looks so uncomfortable.
And we're talking about power shots. Where were your power shots towards the championship rounds?
And he was missing.
Yes,
he was missing like crazy.
You saw from the stats his power punches that he claims went dramatically down.
Yeah.
I think he did more screaming than punching.
Yeah, exactly.
So Marinez, he's 19-1 with 7 KOs, and Romero is 12-0, right?
I think he's 16. I know. I could be wrong.
But
It says 12 and
let's
0 here.
let's
Oh,
also
okay.
talk about the attitude.
Yeah, his general and his trainer's attitude.
Yeah, so look, be grateful that you were awarded a blessing, lucky decision, a robbery, right?
At least Bradley after that initial, like after the fight, he was like, I'm gonna have to see the video. I felt like I won, but I gotta check. At least he was being honest,
Yeah.
and they knew that. I mean, he knew that he didn't. win.
Be humble about it.
Yeah.
Look, one quote that still sticks with me is the trainer after the decision and the fight. He yells at Marinez's camp, "Go back to the drawing board," which. No.
What, to beat him again?
Yeah, which no, don't. What are you talking about? He did everything to
draw-
win the fight.
the drawing board was exactly correct,
If
yeah.
anything, take your team, take your fighter, and you guys go back to the drawing board. If anything, Romero should fire you and find somebody else because apparently you're not going to take any competitive fight after this because you need to take a step down.
Yeah, and you can tell. One thing, me as a boxing trainer too, as a budding boxing trainer, by the way, I'm plugging myself in there. If you need a boxing trainer,
it.
holla at
Yes.
your boy.
Shout out.
But as a boxing trainer, I noticed trainers either focus on fancy pad work or they focus on power shots too much, right? Especially like trainers who I guess like have like a big ego and like more ego than talent as a trainer. And you can tell by the way Romero was fighting that all they were practicing on was power shots and knockout shots. And I think they took Jackson Marinez for granted, obviously. But not only that, but he looked so stiff. He was shoulder rolling when he was squared up. And then on top of that, like even as the shorter fighter, he was missing high, which lets you know how wildly off your accuracy is. If you're the shorter fighter and you're missing high, because you notice usually when the taller fighter fights a shorter fighter, they don't really duck under that many punches. I mean, unless you have really, really, really fast like head movement. But Jackson Marinez, athletically, is not like super gifted, but he was ducking under Romero's power shots, and Romero was the shorter fighter, and he was missing high.
Yep.
And he was just so wild. It was like really sloppy.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the fact that Romero, there was a few dirty tactics for sure.
Yeah.
He was putting his whole forearm.
He was doing the Mayweather thing,
Mayweather,
but
yeah,
where
yeah.
he put the forearm in the guy's face.
Yes.
and then pushing back.
Which look, I get your working and you're practicing under Mayweather's camp, but buddy, switch up your boxing style.
You're not Mayweather.
You're not Mayweather.
You're
Man.
not Mayweather.
Don't like this whole shoulder roll thing and this whole stance that you had. It did not work for you.
And we're trashing him. And listen, I think he's a loudmouth, but do I think he's talented? Yeah, in some respects, I think he's talented. He's a good power puncher. He's a big lightweight too. Like both Jackson Marinez is a really big lightweight, but so is Rolando Romero. Like if you look at him, he's very for his age, he's very well developed, broad shoulders, strong, muscular. And pretty tall. I think he's like 5'8".
Yeah, very nice long jab.
Yeah.
Long
Jab, but slow as fuck. But long jab. He kept on jabbing to the body and like missing wildly throughout the whole fight.
I'm speaking about Marinez.
I was talking about Romero.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, I was talking about Romero. Like he's talented, but like you can clearly see that. No, he is. I think his power punching is there, but his boxing ability.
Yeah,
you know?
if he wants success with that power punches that he has, which
He wasn't even setting up the power punches.
Exactly.
He was just going for it.
And that's what I was gonna bring up. If he wants success, throw jabs and then finish it out with these power hooks. Do a little bit more combinations. Don't be too predictable.
He was telegraphing his jabs too. He was telegraphing.
And very flat-footed too, man.
Oh God, yeah. Don't get me. For a guy who's 135 pounds and 5'8", his feet look like he was like a super middleweight.
Yeah.
He was so slow on his feet. And for a guy at 135 at that weight, you need to, even if you have slow feet, you need to move because look at guys like Teofimo, look at guys like Lomachenko. You know, these guys have footwork. They have quick feet. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, just to kind of like end off this topic, this definitely kind of exposed Broly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a lot of fighters are gonna try to capitalize on this and
Yeah.
try to like maybe take a shot on
He
him.
was trying to bring it up as like okay, I didn't look good, but Teofimo Lopez didn't look good against Nakatani, and look, he came back and knocked out this guy, and I'm like, okay, cool, but you know what? At least in that Nakatani fight, which I thought, Teo looked terrible. At least he still won that fight. Like, I think he barely won, but he won that fight. Yeah. But this one was clearly Jackson Marinez' fight. And I feel bad that we're talking about how bad Romero is and what Marinez did do in that fight, which was controlled distance. Even though, Romero was, really boring in and trying to bully him and all that stuff. Jackson Marinez, not super talented, but he looked very disciplined. And usually Dominican fighters, they start late in boxing, but he looked very polished.
He looked sharp. And credit to his camp, which is Robert Garcia.
Garcia, yeah. And he was talking about it too. Like,
Yeah.
dude, don't act like you're like he was telling Romero's camp, like, don't act like you deserve the decision and act like it was the right decision because it wasn't, And at least act like it was close.
I mean, look, in the end of the day, this just goes to show Rolly's on paper the champ, but I feel like Marinez is definitely gonna be the people's champ.
Even his TMT teammates,
they trashed him.
They trashed him, yeah. And his PBC guys also trashed him too. Like, not trashed him, but said, "Yo, that was a robbery."
I think we would have to watch that fight again. That's
a
fight to watch.
We're gonna rewatch it again. I'm gonna rewatch it again, but I'm probably gonna see more rounds for Marinez if I see it again.
I don't want to watch it because if I do end up watching it, I'm just gonna get mad again. Yeah. I'm gonna drink again, and I don't want to get upset.
That's a good thing.
Well, on the flip side of disappointment, the other fight of the night was David Benavidez, super middleweight, former champion now, WBC former super middleweight champion, versus Romer Angulo. And I
saw that fight.
Yeah, and listen, David Benavidez, you're stupid. You lost your title on the scales. You didn't lose it in the fight. Although he did do that, man, he looked pretty damn good. In that fight,
impressive.
Yeah,
very impressive.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Angulo is not all that special, right? But I mean, Benavidez did what he had to do, and he looked good.
Yeah, I mean, look, Angulo, he wasn't special, but he definitely stepped up for competition. Mm-hmm. He was in his face, but of course, Benavidez.
He's just an offensive machine.
Benavidez being the longer, more slicker fighter. He was very comfortable against the ropes, which he likes doing anyways. And basically went to work at the body. Yeah. I'm just impressive that Angulo, he survived all those 11 rounds.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All the 11 rounds?
Yeah, okay. I think they stopped at that 11th.
TKO.
Yes, but if that was anybody else, no, I don't see them going that far into the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, Benavidez is a talented boxer. We saw that against that fight against
Anthony Dirrell.
Anthony Dirrell, yes, the younger Dirrell brother.
Correct.
And Dirrell is no joke. He's not, like I said, Dirrell's not like a super talented fighter, but he's a very, very, very good fighter. And he beat down, Benavidez. He beat down Dirrell, and you can see the talent there. You could see the offensive talent there. I kind of see him as like a much more polished version of what Julio Cesar Chavez could have been. You know, like that's what I see. You know, like just using his weight, using his size, and just
He used his size in every aspect of that fight. You
and
can
not
tell.
only that, but he also lets his punches
Length.
flow. You know, he lets his
Yeah.
punches flow.
And I think this fight was a little bit more different because he knew Angulo could withstand all
Because
his power
Angulo
shots.
looked
but
like Angulo
yeah,
looked
yeah.
like strong. Like
Yeah,
he looked
Angulo
like
looks
raw.
like a football player,
and
man.
don't forget, Angulo's a vet. He's
Yeah.
been in the ring for most of his life. So what Benavidez did, which I think was the smartest thing to do, he broke him down.
Yeah.
He
Took
went
him
to
to
the body.
school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he broke him down. You know, he went straight to the body, like for the first part of the fight, and then just started hammering with these combinations, man.
Yeah.
Broke
You know,
him down.
I mean, listen, it was a great fight. I mean, unfortunately, he got stripped of his title because
how
he missed weight. But you know, of course, you know the World Boxing of Canelo. I mean, I'm sorry, the World Boxing Council. You know,
I was gonna bring up Canelo too, by the way.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
No, what you told me was earlier. You said that Canelo was afraid to fight Benavidez.
Not afraid. I don't think Canelo's afraid to fight.
That's what you
but
said.
he's just not. He's the type of fighter. Even though I still think Canelo would win, he's the type of fighter that would give Canelo problems.
Oh, I don't know.
He's just so big, you know.
I like
he's a big,
Benavidez.
and he could take a punch, you know, and he can let his punches flow. He's kind of like a more offensive version of a more offensive and more like Triple G. He kind of reminds me of Triple G, but more creative with his combination.
Benavidez?
Benavidez, yeah. He's
Benavidez
more creative with
is
his
bigger,
combination.
taller.
Yeah.
And Benavidez, he's very comfortable when it comes down to contact.
Yeah.
He doesn't let anything.
He can take a
phase
punch.
him.
He can take a punch, yeah.
And you know,
It's
with
that Chicano blood.
yes, compared to what you just said with Triple G, he stands in the pocket because he
Triple
could
G's-
take them.
yeah.
He has a chin.
Yeah.
Benavidez, not that he doesn't stay in the pocket, but he's more slick because he's the taller fighter.
He kind of, you know, the type of movement, not exactly, but that type of inside movement, kind of like the way Duran kind of moved. Plug. We got Duran shorts, might I add, by the way. Courtesy from Raul right here, my brother. He
Got the hookups.
He got the hookup.
the
We have
plugs.
signed Roberto Duran boxing shorts.
Shout out
Got
to
the
Manos de
plug.
Pierdas.
There we go. Shout out to Panama.
You heard?
But anyways,
Yeah, well, to add to the comparisons, he reminds me a lot of a little bit like Tyson Fury, the way he moves his back against the ropes.
yeah.
Has Benavidez ever had a loss? Has he?
No,
No,
he's
no,
undefeated.
no.
He's undefeated.
The only
He's
loss
more-
he had, the
he
only
looks-
loss was the WBC title, but
He
other than
lost
that,
himself.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
lost him. He lost to the scales, and he lost to the World Boxing Canelo. I mean, I'm sorry, Council. But you know, it is what it is. You know, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, guys. Yo,
well,
NBA playoffs going down as we speak. I think actually right now, as we're talking, it's I think it's Toronto playing Brooklyn right now, which they're winning. They're already 2 games up, and I think they're up by 20 last time I checked.
Oh, Toronto won. By
They got
the way.
smacked. Oh.
Yeah, 117-92.
are you guys
Toronto
surprised?
leads the series.
No,
3-0.
we're not
I'm not surprised.
You know, one thing I will say I'm
Like-
surprised about is that how good Toronto has been since Kawhi left. Like, do I think they're going to win the title? No. But the fact of how impressive they've been as defending champs, losing their best player, it's actually pretty admirable how well they played. You know, and I guess they move the ball a little bit more because now, you know, Kawhi is not there. So they're playing more as a team. Lowry and Van Fleet have, you know, taken a leadership role. You know, the vacuum that was left by Kawhi leaving. And they filled that role in. So, you know, we have that. KJ, break us down. Where are we at in the playoffs right now?
I was just checking out the stats as of now.
For that
'cause,
game? For
just
that-
finding out, that
Yeah.
Toronto took the game. Took a 3-0 series in the lead.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam scored 26
Oh,
points.
and by the way, my bad. I didn't even shout out Pascal Siakam. He's been
Forgot
the
about him.
MVP of that team. Like he became a star in the playoffs, and now he's becoming a bona fide star since Kawhi left.
Yeah, man. And Van Fleet, like you were saying, I don't know about the leadership role that Van Fleet.
Off the bench, he's the leadership role off the bench.
Oh yeah, definitely. So he scored 22 points tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about Van Fleet is like he's hot and cold. Like sometimes he'll just drop like 12 points, and then sometimes he'll drop like 26 points, like and hit like 5 threes. You know, especially like in the third quarter. But you know, Toronto, their season, their experience for defending champions, even without their best player that was there last year, great. You know, and Brooklyn. I mean, listen, Brooklyn is without Kevin Durant and Kyrie. So clearly, they're not a team that's you know a team to be reckoned with. But you know, let's see what happens in the rest of those, because now we have Boston, we have Milwaukee, who tied up the series yesterday.
Yep, they did.
You know,
Which they shouldn't.
what?
Milwaukee, they should well,
They should be
they
up
should
2-0.
yeah,
Yeah.
they should. If anything, a lot of people predicting them sweeping Orlando.
Well, you know, a lot of the favorites lost their game one.
Game one, yes.
Like LA lost their game.
Well,
break it down for us.
yeah,
Kid.
please.
What's happened? What's happened so far?
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, I was just getting to that.
break down the series breakdown right now. Who's up, who's tied, who's losing.
Oh yeah, we'll get straight to the Lakers because
Okay.
I want to talk about the Lakers. That's my team. Tying up the series,
Womp, womp.
winning game 2, baby. Let's go. Lakers versus Trailblazers. Lakers took that one 11-88 convincingly. Davis going off like he's supposed to. LeBron, I'm not gonna lie, he's been slacking. Like I'm pretty upset about that. Only scoring 10 points. He had 6 rebounds, 7 assists, whatever. But yeah, man, the Lakers have to move the ball. And if I really wanted to get into it,
They moved the ball yesterday though. They
No,
They-
there's no question. They have to
Yeah,
move the ball.
they
They
have
need to take these
they have
this
no
series
they
for
have
LeBron.
no real shooting threats honestly on that.
They do, man. Look, Waiters. Okay, so if you compare stats, Waiters had less minutes of playing time in game 1 than he did game 2.
Waiters is a shorter version of J.R. Smith. That's all it is.
Waiters is nice. Just wait. I'm telling you,
Sometimes.
just wait.
Sometimes.
Just wait on Waiters. You heard? No, I'm kidding.
Is he the better version?
No.
He scores better in the paint,
Yeah.
1000% than J.R. Smith.
I will say this: he will never be as entertaining as.
I was
J.R.
gonna
Smith.
say, is he including the Henny bottle or without the Henny bottle?
You know what? Henny Jr. is the most entertaining NBA player of all time.
No, hold on. JR had 11 points. He made 3 3-pointers. He went 3 for 9. So, I mean, look, game 2. If you I was talking to my friends about that. I was talking to Raul and his cousins about how Frank Vogel, the head coach for the Lakers, I just feel like he's doing a shitty job with rotation. Like he's not rotating the right players at the right time.
I think he's doing a shitty job now, but if you consider how good the Lakers were doing before the coronavirus hit, they were actually doing extremely well. So and remember when he was hired, they saw him as like a placeholder. Like, okay, we're gonna hire you for a season and then we're gonna get rid of you. So he did pretty well up until coronavirus hit. So we can criticize him for his rotations.
I'm criticizing him.
Yeah, for the playoffs. But you know what?
I had to call him out unless LeBron is calling the plays for him. Like we think.
Yeah.
Like all of us know.
Well, for the most part, people like me seeing this from the outside, I off the back think LeBron is the coach, the head leader, and the all-star
Everything.
player. So
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate and things run over there, but for the most part, every team that LeBron is in, they have a rookie coach and they have somebody fresh.
But you know what?
young,
To
and-
be fair, Frank Vogel did a great job when he was with Indiana for a couple of years. They almost beat LeBron when he was with the Cavs.
That's
right,
that's in the
that's
past,
right.
Kyle. Let's talk about now.
Oh
so
my
if the
God.
Lakers do not win this first
Very
round,
critical.
lover.
Very,
LeBron
very,
lover.
very
Hold
critical.
on, hold on. Let me get this off. Look, if Frank Vogel does not, or the Lakers don't win the series, or maybe win the next 2 rounds, Vogel's out of there. You know that. So he needs to get it together. As far
Okay.
as rotation,
I will give you that,
If you're a
yes.
basketball fan, you know that his rotation.
Wait, you guys don't think that if they get I don't know if they're gonna lose this series, but if they don't make it to the finals, do you think that Vogel's gone, considering like the issues with coronavirus and all that stuff?
Hell yeah.
Okay, all right, no, okay, that's fine.
Well, let's give credit to the Blazers, Portland, because they're no walkover either.
Yeah.
We all know Damian Lillard has been putting up high numbers.
Dame
Dame
time.
Game time, yes, and he has those crazy long range threes.
Yeah, I think he's just on a mission because the Blazers have been kind of looked over. He's been kind of looked over as well. Like he's missed a couple of All-Star games simply because it's just the numbers standpoint. And he's been probably top 4 point guards
Yeah.
in the NBA since his second season. You could argue.
This is my personal opinion. I consider him now, especially Steph Curry being out for the whole season. I think he's arguably one of the, if not the best point guard in the league right now.
Yeah.
I can't really
Yeah,
compare
Guys,
him to anybody else.
I hate to say it to you guys, but he dislocated his finger.
Yeah.
Meaning,
Oh,
this might be a.
Let me take a sip
I hate to
that.
say
He
it.
ain't
I love
missing-
Lillard.
Yeah, let's
but
take a sip.
Let's
Let's take a
to
sip
that.
for
Take it for
Dame Lillard's index finger,
Yeah,
guys.
Fuck.
But you know what? But yo,
Salud.
hold on. It's Dame time. He's like, I ain't missing game 3. He's even said it. He's like, oh, I ain't missing no time.
That's why I'm a fan.
That,
of his, bro.
yeah, I mean, and that goes to show that Mamba mentality.
yeah,
you know,
he's
like,
a dog. He's a dog.
yeah.
You know, he's straight up a dog. He's the type. He's the NBA player that mentality. He could have played football. You know, the mentality, the type of mentality he has, he could have played football.
He looks like a football player physically.
Yeah.
and I'm rooting for Carmelo. You know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I don't
He
really
only
care.
he only had 2 points in
No,
game
I
2.
I don't really.
I'm
he
happy about that,
Oh, he
though,
also got
'cause-
worked. He got worked in game 2 by LeBron. I remember.
Yes,
Like,
let's go.
even though.
Sorry.
Oh, are you watching it live right now?
No, I'm just getting hype.
Oh God. Anyways, but
tied up.
moving up. So we also have, was it Denver versus Utah is tied up right now?
Ooh, yes, that's the team I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's this. I'm sorry about that, guys. That's the team I wanted to get to. Utah actually tied the series. Let's go. The series is tied 1-1, and for game 3, they have Mike Conley back after leaving the bubble for the birth of his son, missing game 1 and game 2. I think he's an important piece to the Jazz just because.
Yeah. Well, Conley has always been a veteran presence who is reliable, and even though he's never made an All-Star game, most people would consider him probably the best, one of the best NBA players to not make an All-Star game. I know that's very it sounds like a backhanded compliment, but it's true. Like he's never made a All-Star appearance, but he's always been just under that. It's always a number.
I don't think he's an All-Star.
Right, not now, but remember those years with the Grizzlies? Yo, they were working people like 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. They were working people.
That core, that starting lineup was very gangster.
Yeah,
in a way.
Gasol, Conley, Zach Randolph.
Z-Boat.
There were big boys. You know?
And what's his name? Tony Allen. They had a really decent squad.
Very defensively.
Yeah, they were strong.
But
defensive
they couldn't do it with him.
Yeah.
At the starting
I
lineup.
mean,
Well,
yeah.
Sorry to
I
say.
mean,
like
can
Conley.
you blame the success being in the Western
Yeah,
Conference?
dude, they were playing
You're
like
right.
they
Yeah.
beat OKC
You're right,
I think
you're
a couple of times, but they were playing OKC, the Spurs. It's
Durant.
crazy.
Oh yeah, Kawhi was on the Spurs. at that time,
Arguably,
too.
if that team was in the Eastern Conference, God knows how
Damn,
far.
I
they
didn't think
would've
about
been.
that. That's actually
Yeah.
a great point.
Yeah.
I did not think about
And,
that.
and giving you a perfect example currently now, how competitive how the Western Conference is. Look at Dallas and the Clippers.
Oh yeah, Dallas and Clippers. It's weird. Like
yeah, they played tonight as well.
there's in the Western Conference, there's clearly a hierarchy, but the middle, like the teams just above the elite, they're all like equal. They're all pretty much equal. Like you can argue like Denver, Utah, Dallas. Who else is playing for the playoffs right now?
76ers, the Celtics.
No, on the Western Conference.
On the Western Conference? Western, Thunder, Rockets.
Oh yeah, the Thunder and the Rockets. We can argue the elite teams could be both LA teams and Houston, right? But every team under that, like Portland, they're
Jazz.
all Jazz. They're all like right there. Would you be surprised if the Blazers beat the Lakers? I mean, kind of, but you
Yes.
would also be like, oh shit,
Very
Dame, but
surprised.
then you'd be like Dame time, like.
And,
Or
Dame
it-
time is not happening.
Yeah.
He
and no
dislocated his finger.
and no disrespect to Orlando Magics, but compare each eighth seed on the Eastern Conference and Western Conference.
Yeah.
Portland, which if I'm correct, they're the eighth seed. They just clinched it. And compared to the Eastern Conference, which is Orlando Magic,
and they
And-
beat
and-
Milwaukee the first game.
yeah, in
You just
terms of
dissed them.
eighth seeds, both of them, if they were to match up against each other, I will hands down give it to the Blazers.
Yeah.
They're more like a stronger core, better all-star team,
And they just have Dame Lillard.
yeah, and Dame time.
But you know what the thing is I think considering how crazy 2020 has been, I think if any year a super dark horse contender comes in and wins the title, it's going to be this year because there's just so many random things going on, the circumstances going on, the bubble and all that stuff. Like anything could happen. Like 2020, anything could happen. The worst things, and it has already been. But like, it's such a random year, and with these playoffs going on like this, like this is the time for any dark horse contender to actually make it. Like, look at OKC. You know, they're led by Chris Paul and what's his name? Shai
Gilgeous.
I always mess up his name. Yeah, I always mess up his name. But look, them, you know, they're carrying the Thunder. Like, if there's any time for any of these teams to like any of these like random teams to make some noise, make a finals appearance, it would be this year. I still think it's most likely going to be LA, either the LA teams versus the Bucks. But and I had Boston winning too. So I mean, Boston's also there too. I hope Boston wins the championship this year. But you know, it's just a weird year. And like I said before in earlier podcasts, I'm like, I don't really consider this a real season. You know, the playoffs are kind of changing my mind about that. You know, because the playoffs are now like, okay, let's get it ready. Maybe I think it was those first 10 games that we were like, okay, this is not real. You know, when we hit the playoffs, then it's real. But you know, as of right now, hey, okay, so was it Milwaukee and Orlando are tied right now? Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let's break it down. Let's see who got who in every
okay,
series.
break it down. Break down the series standings right now.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna call out the games and the teams that will be playing, and you guys tell me who you think is gonna take the series.
Okay, let's go.
Let's start off with the Raptors after winning today, taking a 3-0 lead. Who do you guys got?
Raptors. They're up 3-0 anyway.
Taking it.
So they take
Sweep.
it. Yeah.
Sweep.
Gotcha. That.
Bring out the brooms.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the Nuggets versus the Jazz. Who you guys
that's
got?
tough.
The series is tied right now.
I'm taking the Nuggets simply because I think they're just a well-polished team. They got Jokic, they got Murray,
Michael Porter Jr.
And I think they have more overall talent, especially offensively. But would I put money on them winning? I don't know, but because that's more of a toss-up.
That's a toss-up.
Yeah, a toss-up type of series. But I'm gonna go with Denver. What about you, Raul?
Wow. It will be a very hard decision, and it will suck to be a gambler, because who you gamble?
Yeah, it's not worth making.
Who are you gonna pick on that?
Who are you gonna pick? But maybe the Nuggets.
Nuggets, okay. What about you, KJ?
I'm gonna be the difference maker here and say
Utah taking it.
I mean, I want the Jazz to win it. I want them to take the series, but realistically, like you were just talking about with Denver and their high-powered offense and their bench, everybody scoring.
I think there's just hardly any weaknesses on the Denver team. Like, they're solid all around. They're not super special in one particular thing, but they're solid all around. Like, there's hardly any weakness. Kind of like Utah. They're like, you could argue Denver is just like a little bit more talented version of Utah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
I mean, I'm taking the Jazz.
Okay, all right.
They got Clarkson over there, one of my favorite players to watch.
Part Filipino. What up?
Oh,
Talented.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He's like a quarter Filipino.
Right?
It doesn't matter. It counts.
Yeah,
Okay,
it counts.
Let's
go, Jordan.
And I'm gonna say
get
all
busy.
his athleticism comes from his Filipino side.
That's definitely not true. That's not true at all.
Must be the Filipino rice.
Yeah, his energy comes from the rice. Yeah. But anyways, next series, kid.
Yeah. So I took the Jazz on that one. All right. So the Celtics versus the Sixers. That's easy.
Celtics. They're already up 2-0
Celtics.
anyway. Yeah.
Ben Simmons is out with the knee surgery.
That doesn't help their cause.
Do not be
Not at all.
surprised if Philly starts tumbling down. I think their apex was the series last year against the Raptors. Do not be surprised if they start tumbling down from here on out. Do not be surprised.
It's crazy to see that franchise, especially with those two guys, with Embiid, Simmons.
Yeah.
It looks like they don't get along.
Yeah.
That's what you hear within the.
Yeah, and also one thing that I noticed throughout the year is they've been trying each consecutive year to find missing puzzles.
Yeah, a puzzle piece. They're adding pieces that kind of fit, but doesn't lead to a championship.
Yeah. First, one of.
I mean, they almost beat Toronto.
Yeah.
So maybe it would have worked last year.
And this starts off with one thing that I remember: Jimmy Butler being in the mix for 1 year, and then having
and then Jimmy Butler's like, yo, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
I don't like playing with y'all.
That has to be a reason.
And then there was a period of time where there was rumors that Ben Simmons wasn't getting along with Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
So this reminds me a little bit of the circus of the Knicks in a way, where there's a lot of rumors and a lot of
yes, but not as bad.
No, of course, no. Yeah, and this is why
I think if the Knicks could trade places with the Philly, they would do it in a heartbeat.
No, yeah, and this is why I said it's just rumors.
Yeah.
Because as New York teams know, we pretty much get the most rumors out of any organization. But yeah, Philly, man, I don't know. I think the question now is after this series is what's next for them.
Yeah, that's why I said they're gonna
It's
start
tough.
tumbling down. Anyways, next series, let's go.
No, yeah. All right. So the next one we got Clippers versus the Magic. They played tonight, by the way. So
Clippers versus the what?
versus the Mavericks. I said Magic. I apologize.
I think Clippers takes it. Although I think Dallas is not getting their just due credit.
That's
you know,
tough.
Doncic. They got. They always will have a solid team. Dallas, as long as Doncic and Porzingis is there. Hopefully they can build something. I think they're missing a couple pieces, but the Clippers are just so like their starting five is so strong, and they have a decent bench. Like I said, it's either LA teams are the favorites to win the Western Conference.
Don't be surprised if Dallas takes Game 3, which is tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised if
Trust
that game goes six. If that series goes 6 games,
It might go
possibly
7.
Yeah,
It's
you
gonna
never
go
know.
7. I think it's going
Doncic,
7.
you can't bet against Doncic. But okay,
Nah,
so
I'm
who
not.
do you think is gonna win? So I have Clippers. What about you, Raul?
Clippers.
Clippers.
What?
about you?
I'm taking the Mavericks.
Wow, I think it's because
I'm
you
a
know
fan
why?
of Doncic. I'm not gonna
you know
lie.
what it is, but also
I like Porzingis too.
Also, he dislikes the Clippers more because they're the other LA team and not
Ooh,
LeBron.
100%, 1000%.
Remember, my brother
F the Clippers.
LeBron.
I said Clickers.
LeBron, my brother. Anyways, next series, what up?
All right, next series we got okay. So we got the Heat versus the Pacers. Miami's up 2-0. I got the Heat. I'm taking the Heat.
It's easy to make predictions now that we're 2 games into each series.
True.
But you know what? Yeah, the Heat way more talented. Bam Adebayo.
Adebayo. I think Adebayo.
I just messed up saying his name. But anyways, Bam, they got that Tyler Hero. I think they have a surprising young core that a lot of people, they can score a lot. And then they have Jimmy Butler. I think his attitude fits with that team because everyone is a little bit more on the passive side. Mm-hmm. And he's like let's fucking get this, bro. And I think he fits well as like the alpha male in that team.
Yeah, that team, I think naturally has a young core.
Yeah.
And he kind of gets away with being more like a leader and being
Like a
more.
veteran.
I think he
being
just
aggressive.
suns everybody into be like, yo, we got this. Let's do this and follow my lead. The Pacers aren't that talented. They have T.J. Warren who went off.
the surprise.
in the bubble. Yeah.
The surprise.
Yeah.
The surprise player of
Yeah.
the bubble.
Surprise
But
star player.
they're just not talented enough to get past the Heat. I have the Heat. You have the Heat. Everyone has the Heat. All right, next one.
Next one. We got Thunder versus the Rockets. Houston is up 2-0. That's an easy pick.
Yeah, I
hope the Thunder get it together. I like the
the
players
Thunder
that they have.
aren't that talented, but the fact that they're here is a testament to not only CP3's leadership, but also
No. They have a lot of talent on that side.
no.
You haven't been watching them. Trust me.
They do have talent, but it's because CP3 is bringing them together, man. Look, dude, look at last year,
guess.
bro. Last year, they didn't have CP3, right? And they were kind of like just floating. In they have CP3 is less talented than Westbrook, and yet here he is on this team. He carries them to the playoffs. A team that shouldn't be there. They're too young for the playoffs, and they're there because of CP3. So that's a testament to CP3's
but it's not only
leadership.
CP3.
I
You got
know,
a lot of
but
players on that.
you have to understand it's beyond the numbers, KJ. When you bring in
that's true.
like somebody like Jimmy Butler, or you bring in somebody like CP3, he brings the best out of you, and not necessarily
I agree.
from passing but just behind the scenes where he's like, yo, bro, you got this, blah blah blah. CP3's always been that type of player.
It makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what one of the biggest traits from all-star point guard. Is one of the things that you get from.
Yeah. It is weird, but obviously, I think Houston's gonna win. It's easy to, like I said, make a
3-0.
prediction.
Sweep, taking the sweep.
I'm gonna say OKC takes a game.
I hope they take a game.
Yeah. No one has home field advantage, anyways.
Oh yeah, there's no home court
Yeah.
advantage.
Yeah.
Bro, who you taking?
Oh, Houston.
Sweep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go say
Okay.
sweep.
All right.
Yeah.
Next series?
All right, who's next? I think that's all.
No, Boston.
No, didn't we pick Boston?
We didn't cover Boston.
Oh, we did it. All right, so we got the Celtics versus the 76ers. Yes, Boston's up 2-0. They're actually gonna play tonight.
Oh yeah,
so.
we did cover it.
Yeah,
didn't
we
Oh
did,
my
we did.
bad. I'm so sorry, but
No, I
Boston.
think the last team is the Lakers.
I mean, did we also do Orlando?
I feel like we did.
Okay,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, guys.
All right, so let's pick real quick. Milwaukee versus the
Milwaukee.
Magic.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, I'm taking Milwaukee.
I think they just had a hiccup in game 1, and now they're just gonna go put pedal to the metal.
I hope the Magic beat the Bucks on the low.
All right, so but okay, now that from what we've seen, who's gonna make the finals?
Well,
Real quick.
Well, let's put it this way: who's gonna be on the Eastern Conference
Yeah.
Finals and Western
Yeah.
Conference
Who's-
Finals, and then eventually go to the finals?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
Oh yeah, who's gonna be the Eastern Conference
I'm saying
champions?
Boston.
Wow, that's a tough one. You could
Let's say
Put- you could-
Boston,
you could-
Milwaukee, but
you could
Boston.
put this in the mix where it could be Boston and it could be Toronto.
Okay. But I think
But-
Milwaukee is most likely going to take. But I'm thinking Boston might get.
Yeah, I think after last year and that heavy pressure on the shoulders now, I think they need to be
Yeah.
in that spot.
Yeah.
So
if
yeah,
Tatum
it makes
and
sense.
if Tatum and Brown wanna assert themselves in the
And-
elite NBA level or elite NBA talent,
Yeah.
like
Don't
up there.
forget Kemba Walker too. Kemba
Yeah.
Walker,
Yeah.
he's also like not only he's a great leader, but he's also a great player. Unlike
Damn.
even though he's not as talented as Kyrie, look how much better they're playing all
Yeah,
together.
shots at Kyrie, man. Yeah, Kemba Walker is doing this thing over there. in
Kyrie is
Boston, bro.
not is a mediocre team player. Let's put it like that.
No
I
comment.
can't disagree on that. I love Kyrie.
I
have a lot
is he
of
one of the
Kyries.
best players in the league? Absolutely. Is he a mediocre team player? Also, absolutely.
I'm curious. I'm
Who-
curious his impact when he does come back to the court
Yeah.
with the Nets.
Because when you're not playing well, Kyrie is like that type of guy, like whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for the Nets right now, they just focus on next year, next
Yeah.
season. That's
And Western Conference, I'm taking either LA teams. What about you guys?
I want to say Clippers, just because I want to go against
Guys,
KJ on this
come on,
one.
man. You know the Lakers are taking
Man,
the Western
fuck the
Conference,
Lakers,
And this
baby.
is
Let's
where
go.
I picked the
Yeah,
Clippers.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Fuck the Lakers. I'm taking the Clippers.
Yeah.
Bro. Anyways, guys. All right, so let's move on to our next topic. Hey, Ryan Garcia, Luke
Wait,
Campbell.
hold on. You forgot the NBA draft.
Oh, yeah, let's
dude,
get
I
back.
don't want to talk about this, guys.
Listen, we can just sum it up in one in
I
one
don't wanna
sentence. Knicks are trash. That's the draft. Okay, that's the on the draft lottery. All you gotta know is the Knicks are trash. They can't even. They're trash even when it doesn't involve any type of talent. It just
So-
takes luck.
So let's talk about the.
We're resident Knicks fan Raul here. Let's hear what he has to say.
So, guys, I want to hear your opinion on
Mm-hmm.
this format this year. Because normally these past couple of years, it's been more like a random, like a bingo machine
Mm-hmm.
where people dig in and pick a number from this
Mm-hmm.
pot, right? This year was more of everybody, each team for each round had an envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy picking up the envelopes will open up the envelope and it had a card in it, which was the team's logo and the number.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it wasn't as a random system.
Well, you know what it is.
Yeah, that can't be random.
Yeah, they've for years since the lottery was implemented, they've trying to like involve some type of alternate measures because they just want to prevent teams from tanking, you know, and just getting the highest percentage. It's hard, but you know what? At the end of the day, you know, it's the worst teams are gonna get the best luck. And
Yeah,
you know,
that's what it seemed like.
But-
Like when you look at the standings, like Minnesota had the worst record in the NBA, like more worse than the Knicks. So it figures that they will be ahead of them. I don't know. I was just checking out the
yeah,
standings.
but the Knicks are
they-
trash, so they're the anomaly.
So let's get to discuss, guys. In terms of record on paper, yes, Minnesota did possibly have a worse record than the Knicks, but
100%.
do they have a worse starting lineup than the Knicks?
I mean, you know what? Yeah, listen, let's just go to the thing why you're really mad. The Warriors getting the number 2 pick. That's why you're really
So guys, does the Warriors, do they need more weapons?
okay, here's the thing.
They went from having one of the best seasons on record
Yeah.
the year before, and then from them, of course, you know, they had some issues with injuries
Mm-hmm.
and Steph Curry being out. What's the other?
Klay Thompson.
Klay
Thompson.
Klay Thompson. So one year that they have a horrible season, they get gifted a second round pick compared to the Knicks, where they have a consistent year base.
you know what it is. It's like I told you. It's like the Indianapolis Colts when Peyton Manning got injured that one year and they were trash. So they got the number 1 pick
Andrew
and they
Luck.
got Andrew Luck.
Yes.
So I think it's just a matter of like bad luck and good luck.
So
you know?
to put it in better words, it's hard for me not to feel like this was kind of rigged in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
1000%.
okay, but as a Knicks fan, you also have to understand also the Knicks, like, no matter how bad they do, they're never going to get that number one pick other than.
But that, why shouldn't they?
I mean,
that doesn't make sense.
Don't get me wrong, they should
So-
only because they're that trash.
KJ, if you don't mind, can you just name
Oh yeah,
Well,
starting-
yeah, what was the order? So
Yeah,
it was
please.
Yeah,
Minnesota
so-
number 1,
yeah. Minnesota took
Warriors
the
number 2,
Charlotte number 3.
Okay.
Got Chicago number 4.
Okay.
Cleveland number 5. Atlanta number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit number 7.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, New York, the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Washington took number 9. Phoenix took number 10. And San Antonio took 11. Sacramento took 12. New Orleans took 13. And Boston took 14
Okay.
from Memphis.
Well, I mean, listen. Hey, Sacramento had a worse draft, and they're bad, but they're not bad enough. I won't say they're as bad as the Knicks, but they're just a trash organization as well. So I mean, hey, at least if you're gonna feel good about one thing, at least you're not the 14th pick, you know.
Man, it's hard to
No, yeah, and Sacramento's record was 31-41. It's weird, like
They're one of those teams that will always win just enough games to not be dog shit, but lose enough games to be cow shit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, look, Charlotte and Chicago were ahead of the Knicks. I mean, I don't know.
You know, I mean, hey,
But
whatever.
hey, it's just as a Knicks fan, this just another indication where I'm
another,
not
like-
looking forward to a new season.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Another stab to the heart at the end of the day.
trust me. Just wait. If the next pick, the Knicks pick the right player, there's a lot of young talent in the draft.
Yes,
But how much faith do we have in the
KJ
Knicks
and
picking the
Kyle,
right player?
all right. So yeah, we could potentially pick up a young player, which
Trust
could
me.
eventually surprise a lot of people compared to Porzingis, right? But
Yeah.
what, as an organization, what do they end up doing?
They always get rid of
getting
them.
rid of
Yeah,
them.
so
Yeah,
they get rid
exactly.
of talent,
So I don't know.
Nah, they'll be good. I think they'll pick a good pick. This year is a lot of talented players.
So at the end of the day, draft wrap up.
Yeah.
Knicks are trash. That's all you need. The draft lottery is Knicks are trash. I'm sorry, Raul. You know I love you. But anyways, we're gonna go to Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell set in November. It's official because you know what? Like it feels like it's been official for like the past month, but now it's official now.
Yeah, it's
right?
been in the works.
Yeah, but I mean, we talked about it earlier. It's about time that Ryan Garcia stepped up. He's finally fighting a legit fighter, even though Luke Campbell isn't like an elite fighter. He's fighting a legit opponent now, because now this is where Ryan Garcia is going to move up from prospect to actual contender now if he wins. So
Agreed.
you know, we'll see how it goes. I think Luke Campbell is pretty rugged. He gave Lomachenko a good scrap, even though he was clearly losing that fight. He gave him a pretty decent scrap. What was that? 2 years ago, right? They fought 2 years ago.
3 years, maybe.
Yeah,
No?
okay, well,
maybe.
I mean, it was a decent scrap. Campbell is talented, a lefty, might add. We'll see how Ryan Garcia takes on this challenge. I mean, he's looked good against a lot of like fringe and lower tier fighters. As a prospect, obviously, they're trying to push him slowly. But I think with his social media gathering and the popularity he's accrued over this over the past couple of years, it's time to really put him on the fast track now. See what the goods are all about. Even though Golden Boy probably still wants to go slow because they're still making money off of these trash fights they're setting him up with.
This seems like a tuna fight.
Wait, what? No,
Campbell's 33, man.
No,
He's pretty old.
Nah,
He's
a legitimate.
Oh, okay. I gotta watch this fight. Then.
Yeah, he's look. British fighters in general, they always come to fight.
They always come to fight, and they're always well prepared.
Yeah, and if we all know Ryan Garcia's record, this is one of the first competitive fights that we could say, oh, he could potentially lose this fight.
Yeah.
This is the if factor for Ryan Garcia. If he definitely gets over and beats Luke Campbell, it's gonna put him in the discussion. Like, okay, what's next? What other potential fight can he get? This is gonna give him definitely more credibility and a better resume for Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. I think Ryan Garcia is going to win, but we'll see. The manner in which he wins will prove where he's gonna go after this.
Yeah, he could eventually just
Who knows? We
shut-
might get another Romero Martinez fight. Who knows?
who knows? Who knows? But this is definitely his opportunity and platform to shut a lot of critics up.
Yeah, me included, because I don't like
Yeah,
him.
me too.
Yeah.
But well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely gonna be tuning in to break down his fight for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys, we're gonna take a quick break. Hey guys, we're back. Sorry about that. We had a little bathroom break. We all were taking selfies in the bathroom again. So, but anyways,
For the gram.
our next topic, we're gonna have Raul take the lead on it. PSG versus Bayern Munich. in the
Oh, yes,
Champions League final.
yes.
I don't know shit about soccer, so I'm just gonna look at Raul and nod, because I know that we have a lot of fans. Hopefully some fans that like soccer, and I have no clue about soccer. I just know the team names and some players. So Raul, what's up? Tell us
Yeah,
what's going
so
on.
we actually have right now in the Champions League, it round up to the final already. PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, they end up beating the German team, which Bayern Munich beat Lyon, which was a very, very good match. It was 3-0. Bayern Munich, very stacked all-star team. They've been very consistent. Basically the best team in Germany. They have Kimmich, Boateng, Alaba, Davis, Thiago Silva, Mueller, Lewandowski, and the list goes on. They got one of the best bench as well. We have PSG, which ended up beating another German team, which was I cannot pronounce her name.
RB Leipzig,
Yes.
a champion.
Yeah.
league team.
Let's just put it that way.
Leipzig.
Yeah. I have terrible pronunciation when it comes down to European names and teams, as Kyle knows, especially with European fighters. But PSG, compared to Bayern Munich, again, all-star kind of team.
Isn't
bench.
Who do they have?
They have
what's the name?
Mbappe, Di Maria, Neymar.
Neymar's
my
on-
guy.
Yeah.
That's
The
my
flopper.
guy.
And
The flopping flopper.
yeah. Well, definitely. Yeah, he's definitely known to be flopping and dramatically.
Yeah.
Um,
But has he cleaned it up the past couple of years?
It stays the same. It's part of the game, Kyle. It's flopping.
Really? Because when I see women's soccer, they're literally elbowing the shit out of each other, and each other's noses, blood dripping all over the place, and they're like, "Ball, son, what up?"
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. But
By the way, when it comes to women's soccer, that is the one thing about soccer that I absolutely love. I would much rather watch women's soccer play, because they play more rough. But I understand there's differences, and you know what? I'm not a soccer fan, so yes, I'm very.
Who wouldn't want to watch women's soccer? Come on.
Yeah, but you know what? Women's soccer, they play more like men than the men do sometimes, because they are rough. They play real
I don't mind
rough.
watching women's soccer.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love Alex Morgan. She's my favorite. So. But
yes, this year, basically the Champions League final is against a French team and a German team. It's been 5 years that it's been pretty much dominant with Spain, teams from Spain, Real Madrid or Barcelona, or Atletico Madrid, and basically also you have a few British teams. Like last season, it was Liverpool, which won it. Even prior to that, you could even include Italian teams into the mix. Juventus,
AC Milan.
No, they haven't been very successful. The only Italian team now that's actually been very good, which are playing now, right now, which is four. It should be rounding up. It's Inter Milan against Sevilla.
Oh, okay.
Which they're playing a Europa League. It's basically equivalent to the Champions League, but for middle class European teams.
So it's kind of like the like you have the NCAA tournament, and then you have the what's that tournament again that they have the NIT, you have the NIT tournament.
Yes.
Okay,
Correct. You got it right in the money.
Oh, is it the internet? No, that's 2019.
So
Raul knows what he's talking about. And me and my brother are typical stupid Americans.
Yeah, and keep in mind, guys, I've been a little bit away from soccer due to the fact prior to COVID, I've been super busy, but it's one of those things where I always, since I was a kid, I always followed.
Yeah.
And as we speak now, Sevilla and Inter Milan are 82nd minutes in, and Sevilla's actually winning, which is no surprise. Sevilla, they're not top 3 in the Liga League, but they're credit to that. They're always successful in the Europa League, which, hey, Inter Milan could end up tying the game, but it looks like Sevilla right now is taking the Europa League. But moving forward, this Champions League is going to be very high intense because both teams, they have very young players. You have wingers that are super fast, technical, in Di Maria, in Mbappe, and Neymar, of course. In Bayern Munich, you have Gnabry, which scored the first 2 goals for Bayern Munich. And then you also have the dangerous and tall and tricky Lewandowski. It's going to be one for the books. Definitely a very more interesting matchup for sure, because these teams have been out of the picture for a while, especially PSG, which haven't. This is their first Champions League final in their history. So, hey, we'll definitely touch up on the results, and looking forward to the game.
They play on Sunday, right? This Sunday? Nice.
All right. Hey, sports world is starting to get back to normal. So, soccer is obviously the world sport, even though me and my brother don't watch it. It's good to see it back. It's good to see the.
For sure.
Actually, switching back to boxing, guys. I just wanted to come back to boxing, and I wanted to cover actually, going back to the first topic real quick. We were reading, Robert Garcia was complaining about how there was a lack of pre and post fight testing in the Romero Mariñas fight. I know we're kind of like going back, but what do you think of that? According to what I read, it was only mandatory for the main event to have pre and post fight testing. So, like, what's up? Like, isn't that a little weird? Boxing always has these little weird things going on behind the scenes. So, are we surprised this happened?
I'm surprised, especially with the condition that we're living through with COVID.
Yeah,
you should definitely take it serious. It doesn't have to be the main fight and the 2 main fighters to be considered
testing
serious
for
and
steroids.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
Performance enhancing drugs.
No, for sure. Everything is equal at this point. It could be the first card fight of the night. You still have to go through those precautions to test, to take those long circumstances to, make things safe. You know, as a fighter, if I wasn't being tested, or I, let alone, didn't know that my opponent was not getting tested, how would I feel?
Yeah.
Would I want to go back to another fight in the future with the same company, knowing that they lack?
Yeah,
no.
It's just one of these boxing situations where someone forgot to take a piss sample, someone forgot to check a glove. It seems like always these things happen in boxing, and it's kind of like one of those things that gets swept under the rug, but it's also one of those things that kind of like puts a black eye in the sport. It's like, I love boxing, but there's always so many different types of politics at play. The bureaucracy, the favoritism. A lot of these sanctioning bodies, they go where the money is rather than for the protecting the sport, and it's troubling, And I listen. Maybe we're reading a little bit too much into it. Probably maybe Romero, clean fight, but we don't know for sure because of the testing. So, it is what it is.
Wait, so what actually happened?
He just didn't get tested. He didn't get before the fight and after the fight. I think there was lack of testing. That's exactly
what.
Yeah.
And this is why Robert Garcia was so outspoken about it. It's unusual for this to happen, especially in this day and age where
it's unusual, but it's not surprising.
Wait, so was he supposed to get tested?
It wasn't required according to the event.
So it's not required. So
talking about like sanctioning bodies, by the way, being WBC orders the Canelo fight. So the WBC stripped David Benavidez, like we were talking earlier, for the 168 title, for their belt, because he came in overweight at the weigh-in. Whenever a title is a vacant, there will be a number of fighters who will put their name to the sanctioning body saying, hey, we want to fight for this title. And then it's up to the sanctioning body to kind of sort that thing out. Now, are we surprised Canelo was in this fight? Because Yildirim was the guy he's ordered to fight for the WBC title is Anvi Yildirim. Anvi Yildirim, right? No one really knows him, but he's happens to be ranked number 1 by the WBC to fight for the title. Canelo was one of those fighters who puts his name in the hat to get a fight for the WBC super middleweight title. Are we surprised the WBC gave him the opportunity to fight for that?
Not surprised.
Hell no, I'm not surprised. The WBC, World Boxing of Canelo, that's what it is.
Yeah, and look, if you think of cash, if you think of
Dude, oh my God, one of the most. I mean,
yes,
all of them are corrupt. But damn, you know.
Canelo is arguably the cash cow and Golden Boy, and he's viewed as pay-per-view top pound per pound list, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about business-wise,
It makes sense. But the whole point of sanctioning bodies are to provide provide some type of proper ranking for each particular division, for the sport of boxing. There's 4 major sanctioning bodies, right? And it always seems like the WBC and the WBA are the worst when it comes to these titles because they make all these designations, all these sites. WBA is the worst because they have a regular title, a super title, and an interim title. They have like 3 champions for that one sanctioning body per division. And then you have the WBC, which will randomly assign Canelo and Lomachenko as franchise champions and then take away the official belt from them, so only to give it to somebody else so that they can collect sanctioning fees, right? And what's the point of that? Like, why are you sure? What is the point of a franchise champion? Why not just let him be the champion? How about that? And it seems like all these sanctioning bodies, it's nothing new in boxing. For anybody who is new to boxing, this is something Boxing Insiders are it's one of the things of the sport that we have to deal with. These sanctioning bodies and their ridiculous rules, rankings, and obviously like the number of championship belts that they just happen to throw around.
Yeah.
Like for example, they made a diamond belt, which is a specific championship belt that is for super fights, which is stupid because why do you need but you could win the diamond belt. You just got to pay us, $100,000. Nah, man, it's ridiculous. But you know what? I'm talking a lot of shit. Canelo has earned the right to call shots, and he's earned the right to challenge for world titles and all that. But it just seems like WBC specifically bends their back for him,
Yes. My only thing that I'm totally against, who doesn't want to see Canelo fight? That's
exactly.
One thing.
For a championship,
Exactly. But how do you go from beating Kovalev, arguably one of the best middleweight fighters there is, to going up against a very unknown Turkish fighter, which he actually lost his last fight.
So he was still ranked number 1 for the title contention, and he lost his last fight.
Yeah, his last fight.
That says a lot.
His last fight on record is against Anthony Durrell in 2019. Yes.
Oh,
so I guess what I want to say in better words is
how can we accept?
If you're gonna have Canelo fight for this vacant title, put somebody more competitive, And this is what Billy Joe Sanders, I guess he had a few comments. Prior to the decision.
Canelo didn't. A couple of fighters actually were gonna. Canelo all of a sudden wants the WBC super middleweight title when Benavidez gets stripped, right?
Yes. But
rather than just fight Benavidez for the title.
Yeah, but hey, we all know Canelo.
He don't want that work.
Well, that's the thing. Though.
I don't think he's afraid.
No, he's not. He's not. Because we've seen, his last fight was against Kovalev, which he was a very
even though Kovalev is obviously on the other side of his career on the arc, Kovalev is still dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially fighting at his division.
Yeah, and he was fighting and he was winning that
fight.
Yeah,
he was winning the fight,
until he got knocked out.
Yeah.
And Kovalev, as we all know, he's a feared fighter in that division. Not everybody wanted to fight him, and he was feared. Nobody wanted to tangle with him. Now Canelo, it's ordered. It's not officially made yet.
Yeah. But no one wants to see that fight, and clearly DAZN doesn't want to see that fight because they rejected that fight.
Exactly.
And they're so DAZN owns exclusive rights to Canelo's to airing Canelo's fights on their streaming service. So they have say in what fights they will approve, and Canelo requested the WBC a chance to fight for the WBC title. It was ordered by the WBC, but now DAZN is saying no, we're not accepting this fight. So now it's going to be an interesting dynamic. What's going to happen? Is this going to create friction between Canelo and DAZN? Is this going to create friction between DAZN and WBC? Is this going to be create friction between DAZN and Golden Boy? Is there going to be a lot of negotiation going on? Will Canelo take less money to fight this guy? Will Canelo take less money in general because of the coronavirus? DAZN has been trying to, reorganize their financial affairs in regards to who they're paying. And now we've kind of seen a lot of like lackluster matchups. We have Canelo who's ordered that by the WBC to face this rando, right?
Yeah, are you guys basically saying like this is like a shoe-in win for Canelo if he fights this guy?
Listen, nothing is ever a shoe-in win, but I'm just saying no one, even this guy could be the second coming of Julio Cesar Chavez, but no one knows him. I don't know him.
No,
I haven't seen him fight.
No, and look, in boxing, nothing is guaranteed, but we predict very highly that Canelo, if he does fight him, he's gonna end up.
I'm not gonna
if Anthony Durrell beat this guy, then Canelo's definitely gonna beat this guy.
And we know Anthony Durrell,
he's a B fighter. He's a B fighter who fights above his.
I was actually gonna say C+.
I know. You know what? No, he's definitely. He has a good resume, and he's a very good fighter. He's a B fighter who fights above his level. On his best days, he's an A- fighter. But no one knows him, especially because, the super middleweight division hasn't been that hot since, I guess, that big tournament that happened 10 years ago. It's a weird time. Canelo fought for I think, the WBA random, interim crappy title for Rocky Fielding last year, which no one cared for, but DAZN put it on because it was their, I think, the second or third fight that they were airing, Canelo fight. And, hey, with all these finances and with, everything going on, dude, they have Canelo fight. Canelo wants to fight this rando. Triple G is fighting some rando, Samrata or something like that. I don't even know his name. Mm-hmm. That's Triple G's next fight. And I won't even put it on Triple G. Triple G wants to fight Canelo. Period. Yeah. Canelo's the one who's like, I don't want to do a third fight. And it's like, I can imagine it's probably hard for the executives at DAZN because they're like, look, we're paying this guy so much money and we want the big fights. We want subscription rates to go up. In
a business standpoint, you want to capitalize on the biggest budget fights that you could make.
Yeah.
And if the fighters want to, fight for a title, but an opponent that won't generate and much interest.
Yeah.
So hold on, guys. I have a question. Sorry to interrupt. So the WBC belt that Benavidez lost because he didn't make weight.
Yeah, WBC.
Is the belt that you're talking about that Canelo.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to me because it seems like if Benavidez just lost the belt, he should be able to fight Canelo for that belt. Well, even if he lost the title.
Here's the thing,
explain, Kyle.
It sounds like Canelo.
When you lose the title,
I don't know.
No. When you lose the title on the scales, you create a vacancy for that championship. So automatically, because you lost the title on scales, you automatically are you're automatically removed from title contention. They automatically order a fight. Usually, the right thing to do is order the fight between number 1 and number 2 contenders for the belt that are on your rankings. But often, a lot of sanctioning bodies will go with where the money is, No,
I get that, but what I'm saying is, it's only right if Benavidez, I feel like, would have lost the fight, then maybe.
Well, it's kind of like an. I don't know if it's a written rule or unwritten rule, but when you lose a title on the scales, you automatically forfeit that title, and you can't fight for it again unless, I think the sanctioning bodies kind of remove you from the immediate title picture until probably after a new champion's crown.
Makes sense.
You know, and I don't know if it's written or unwritten, but usually when you lose the title on the scales, you forfeit the chance to win it back for the next immediate fight.
And in a way, it makes sense too. You know.
Yeah,
like,
because you lost the title on the
Yeah.
so you don't now you lost the opportunity to hold the belt.
That's what I'm saying. Benavidez just lost his opportunity to, I feel like, stardom or fame.
No,
No.
he has the stardom. He has the reputation.
Well, I mean, Benavidez is a name, but he's not a big name. So I mean, but the boxing world would be very excited for Benavidez
Hell yeah.
versus Canelo.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
We were just talking about that.
Hell
Yeah. But you know, it is what it is. That's boxing for you,
Mhm.
unfortunately. You know, we do have a couple fights coming up, by the way, this weekend. You know, we have Joe Smith Jr., the man who ended
Dethrone
dethroned and ended
Bernard Hopkins.
Philly legend Bernard Hopkins' career. And he's fighting Eleider Alvarez, Colombian fighter fighting out of Canada. Eleider Alvarez is actually the light heavyweight champion at one point. He knocked out Kovalev. He knocked out Kovalev and then lost the belts to Kovalev in the rematch in which he lost the decision. And then we have Joe Smith Jr., who has always been like, ever since his knockout of Bernard Hopkins, has been in and out of title contention. So that's good. That should be an interesting fight, honestly, because Eleider Alvarez is they're both like action fighters. I believe Alvarez is a little bit more polished than Joe Smith, but it should be fun to watch. It's a top ranked card, right? Yeah, I think you wrote it down, right? It's a top ranked card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then also we have the Sean Porter fighting Sebastian Formella, who, Sean Porter is never in a boring fight, but he's also fighting someone I have no clue who the hell is. And apparently Sean Porter doesn't either, because he was quoted as saying he had no clue who Formella was before the fight was made. Raul, you said they might have been sparring partners?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. I saw and I read something that maybe in 2011, those early years, they were sparring partners.
Maybe they were sparring partners, but they didn't he did a body they brought in.
Yeah, and this is why he's super confident in the fight going his way, because he knows that he's always been that same fighter from the start where they sparred up until now. There's no changes to his game plan.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, this is just, in all actuality, this is just a tune-up fight for Sean Porter for a bigger fight at the end of the day. Hopefully, either a rematch with Errol Spence or a match with Terrence Crawford, which has been kind of like up and down in the air that's been talked about. I mean, it is whatever. I don't even know Formella. I don't really care for this fight, to be honest with you. I'm still going to watch it, but I don't really care for the fight. And, it seems like, Sean Porter's always in shape. He never is not in shape. But, it's not. And even ESPN, I'm looking at an ESPN wrote an article saying that, he actually brought his dad as a sparring partner.
Wow.
Sean Porter, because
it makes sense.
Yeah, because Kenny Porter is Sean Porter's head trainer,
And his dad.
and that supposedly that his father is gave him some work as a sparring partner.
Yeah, and one thing
That's
that I
dope.
was seeing in one of the videos, just like most fighters now, they're very limited to tools, gyms, sparring partners due to COVID. So
It's been very hard for MMA and boxing fighters to get in work, especially with depending on where you live too, So I mean, it's been very hard,
Yeah. So he's been
Crazy.
doing most of his training.
Yeah, that's what. By the way, Benavidez was saying that too.
Yeah.
The reason, one of the problems that he had making waves because he didn't have access to the sauna, which is a traditional weight cutting tool for boxing, and he also didn't have access to like a gym necessarily to get the weight off. Do I believe him? I mean, kind of. Everyone has to go through that. So that's why I don't absolve him for everything because of that. Because other fighters are also going through the same struggles. But yeah, it's hard to find sparring partners at this point.
Yeah. I mean, what better than your dad, your pops, if he knows how to scrap?
And especially if you guys had unresolved father-son issues that need to be getting now, maybe that might help. The other fight, Dillian White versus. Is it Dillian or Dylan? Well, whatever.
It's Dillian.
Dylan White versus fighter from the UK, former opponent of Anthony Joshua against Alexander Povetkin, who I also former AJ opponent, right? They're fighting for the WBC interim heavyweight title. Two fighters known for their power and also known for their predilection for PED. But you know, hey, it's a heavyweight fight. Both guys are offensive type fighters. This should be interesting, you know. I just want to see someone get knocked out because honestly, Povetkin I think is over the hill. Dillian White, I don't think he's talented enough to beat the top 3 fighters. So this is just like cannon fodder for boxing. But if it's gonna be that, I hope it's gonna be like you know, like the fight they were playing, Ruiz versus
Chris Arreola.
Arreola.
Mhm.
Hopefully it's gonna be something entertaining. You know, 2 guys who are offensive fighters with a lot of power, and we'll see where it goes. You know, let's see how it goes. We also had the recently the in the MMA world, we had a UFC card featuring Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic for the 3rd fight. We kind of previewed it slightly in our previous podcast. Hey, you know, it was a really good fight. Stipe Miocic won by decision, but it was very well contested. You know, it was a clear but close decision, but it cemented Stipe Miocic as probably the best heavyweight of all time in MMA.
I mean, man, Cormier got poked in the eye, man.
You know what? There's been issues with eye pokes between these 2 fighters.
The past,
really?
Yeah, because actually, Miocic was complaining about eye pokes in previous fights. And also, he got slightly eye poked by Daniel Cormier in this 3rd fight, but then he also poked the shit out of Daniel Cormier.
That was a bad, dirty one. That looked dirty.
Yeah.
Seeing the clip,
It
that
looks
was
dirty.
a brutal
fast.
eye poke.
Yeah.
Even post fight, the effect on his eye,
Yeah.
Man, come
holy
on.
Yeah.
shit.
That was on purpose.
No.
God.
Listen,
It looked on purpose.
It looked on purpose.
Listen,
Come on.
it looked on purpose.
It looked-
but
he went boom.
Yeah.
Most
He
people-
poked him right in his eye.
most people who
You could
know
close your
Stipe
fist.
Miocic, they know that he's a no bullshit type of fighter. So I actually will take his word for it, you know, because he's actually
yeah,
that
right.
he's that type. He's not dirty, and he's not the type of.
That was
but
a
it
dirty
did look
one.
If
bad.
it was an accidental poke, then maybe
you go back.
maybe you'll
You
maybe
pull
like
back.
accidentally poke the chin, the cheek, the ear, but it just so
It did look
happened a
good, yes.
target and it went in his eye, and
Ouch.
I couldn't watch it.
That's also one of the scary things about MMA because that's how UK MMA fighter and also now announcer Michael Bisping, he actually has a prosthetic. His eye kind of works, but so years ago he got actually kicked in the face by Vito Belfort when Vito Belfort was on TRT, steroided out. He got kicked in the eye and the big toe went in his eye socket. So which severely impaired his vision. Amazingly, Bisping still fought. Still continued his career after that, but he has a very, very, very limited vision in his eye, and he actually has to wear a prosthetic to make his eye look normal.
Shit.
So you know, in MMA, you never know what can happen, especially with the open gloves and you know you're fighting barefooted, so you know
You
things
gotta
like
close
that.
your
Yeah,
fist,
and-
man.
and-
What are you doing?
And one detail that I was gonna express to you guys, that sparring, I got long eyelashes, so when I get jabbed or I get
You
hit,
feel it.
sometimes my eyelashes go inside my eye, and that's so uncomfortable. And you gotta thug it out in a way.
Yeah.
So
Imagine a whole
imagine
finger.
a whole finger or toe.
Ouch.
Nope.
Ouch.
That just makes hurts my eye.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
And
ouch.
already eyelashes, little enough, it stings. It hurts you in
Yeah.
a way. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine a fucking finger.
What's
Hell
his
no.
name? Michik?
Stipe Miocic.
Miocic, man. Miocic's finger, like,
Well,
thrusting through his eyeball.
He
That's
has
crazy.
the reputation of being a very honest and very clean and not dirty fighter. So I believe him when he said it was bad.
I mean, I believe that as well.
He's
but
very well
that's a
spoken in
dirty
his
move.
interviews, very respectful in a way.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that single move just was.
Yeah,
brutal.
it just that move was dirty. I'm not saying he's a bad guy because I never met him, but that was kind of dirty.
yeah,
Not
I
gonna
mean,
lie.
it is.
But let's talk about your paisano, guys.
oh yeah,
Your
so
Ecuadorian.
I didn't even know this before the fight week, but so in the co-main event, we had a budding star, Sean O'Malley. Some people are saying that he's like a second coming of
Conor?
of Conor McGregor.
Okay.
And he has a social media following, kind of like Ryan Garcia, and he's very popular. He has a knockout highlight reel. He knocked out Eddie Wineland in spectacular fashion in the fight before this. He's on the come up, and he fought on the co-main event against Mignano.
Yeah,
As you guys may-
Marlon Vera. Chito?
Yes.
Chito, his name is Chito.
Chito.
Listen, I'm acting like I've been known
So-
him, but I just found out about
so-
him like 2 weeks ago.
Literally last
Mañaño
week.
Chito, he beat the chucha out of the rainbow hair guy.
Well,
Chucha.
well, to be fair, a lot of people are implying that O'Malley hurt his ankle when he rolled his ankle. But I will say this: if you watch the fight, there's a point where Chito kicks O'Malley in the leg, and a lot of people have been speculating that O'Malley was kicked in a very important nerve right on the side of your knee, under the knee. So there's like this. If you touch it, there's like like by your tendon, there's a nerve there that if you press hard on it, you can feel all the way down to your heel. So there's a kick Chito lands. That
A few kicks.
well, there was the one particular kick that where you see O'Malley switch stances, and then starts favoring his leg. He starts falling under his own weight, and a couple of times he did that, and then Chito was like, "Yo, bro, you good?" And then O'Malley's like, "Yeah, let's go." And then the second time he kind of fell, Chito kind of like walked around the ring like, "Yo, are you all right?" So a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, it's not a real fight because Chito." Chito's acting like he beat O'Malley, but O'Malley clearly hurt himself. Some people can argue that kick was actually what started O'Malley hurting his leg.
It was 100%.
So we don't know for sure. That's what it looks like.
Come on.
But
You see it.
Yeah. So
Those were aggressive kicks.
the result at the end was O'Malley fell to the floor at one point. Chito jumped on him, ground and pound, and knocked him out. It was actually a technical knockout. The ref stopped it, but elbows to the head on the ground. This is I guess a big win for Ecuador. There's not many Ecuadorian sports stars like that. I think off the top of my head, in terms of boxers, there's only one Ecuadorian boxer that I know, and I don't really even follow him like that. His name is Eric Bone. So I don't even know him much like that. But there's not many there's not many Ecuadorian athletes that are out there. So it's nice to see, one of my people, even though I don't speak Spanish. I'm
Yes,
very
you do.
Americanized.
Yes, he does.
I'm very Americanized. I'm mad Ecuadorian when it comes to
It
food.
may not be tip top.
Chucha
but
madre.
Caldo de bola,
Dile,
encebollado,
loco, dile.
And look,
lengua guisada.
and Ecuador, their main sport is soccer, right?
Yeah,
and
even that team is
and-
trash.
and-
I mean, they used to be good, but then that's
and put it this way: when playing soccer, most of these players, every player playing soccer, they have shin guards.
Yeah.
And me growing up, majority everybody playing soccer, me attempting to play soccer, getting hit in the leg
that shit sucks.
or in the ankle, and personally, I have one of the worst ankles that
you roll your ankles off
all the time. So getting hit, it sucks. So imagine getting a professional UFC fighter.
Yeah,
Swing
I think
kick.
he also started in kickboxing too.
You probably play soccer too, bro.
Yeah,
That's why
of
those
course,
kicks
yeah,
were
yeah.
vicious.
Actually, I'm gonna show Raul and KJ where O'Malley was likely hit. Yeah,
I you know what? Just
Bro,
him pressing,
right.
just him pressing
Oh,
up
wow.
against that spot in my
you feel the nerve, like
yes,
yeah.
and look, as a boxer myself back in the day, I could recall one incident where somebody parried one of my jabs, and he just so happened to parry it hard.
Oh, that happened to me a couple months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he parried the nerve right here.
Yes.
Mine was right here.
Yes. So it's a nerve right. It's right
the
in front of
forearm?
the forearm
Yeah,
slash like
right here.
elbow.
So Raul, you were on the inside of your arm, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Raul got parried right here.
Yes.
I-
Every time you hit that or
Yeah,
something.
and I got parried right here.
And
Yeah, of course.
and look, you're forcing your jab at a fast pace.
Yeah.
So then he
I got
catches.
parried by the elbow, by the way. So the person was blocking, and he dropped his elbow while I was trying to land a body shot, and the elbow, right, the tip of the elbow hit that nerve.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And look, I was 17. I was maybe 125 5 pounds.
Diablo,
So
que skinny. Look at
Yeah.
So
Put
it
that
was
twig.
so it was basically just bone at that time, and the way that affected
Oh,
me during that sparring session was horrible. I literally had to thug it out and bite my tongue, so I wouldn't show the effect of that parry in that nerve from that elbow/forearm. It was horrible, and the next day you could clearly see the effect on it. It was just super bruised up. I had pain maybe for a week, so I can't imagine that nerve that he got hit with.
Like
in the leg.
My
the
thing
leg.
is like, look, at the end of the day, they have to fight again. I feel like everyone would want to see a second fight to that, because just if people are
naturally,
complaining.
it's a natural rematch.
Yeah,
that-
he still
that's-
lost the fight, O'Malley. So
Yeah.
Vera got the W. So
You know,
that's
and
what it is.
yeah, O'Malley lost his O. Hopefully, they can run it back, and
They gotta run it
bridges
back.
them. By the way, guys, guess what time it is?
Is it Masputa?
Well, you know what? We can go either Masputa or go to the week, but it is the end of the show where we offer our goats of the week and the Masputa list that we have
Yes.
every week. Okay,
And this is the time and moment where we'll hear George Lopez introduce.
We gotta get that effect
Masputa.
going on.
Yeah. Okay,
Soon
so you
to
know what?
come.
Let's go with Masputa. Let's go
Yes.
with that Masputa list. All right, guys. We're gonna go. Raul first. Raul,
Yes.
who is on your
Oh,
Masputa
man.
list?
I'll be here for the whole day. I'm gonna give you guys a rant because I'm still pissed off.
Uh-oh.
As everybody.
Okay.
My Masputa has to go through all those 3 judges scoring the Rolly fight and Mariñez fight. But most importantly, I'll have to give it to Frank Lombardi because what the fuck?
118, 110.
What the fuck?
How the fuck
118
did he
to
see that
110.
shit? What did he see? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
My real question, I guess, now, how much money did you get? Like,
Yeah.
like to bribe and get rigged that bad and score it 118 to 110? It's one of the most horrible,
God, yeah.
unpredicted.
But you know what?
score.
I remember after the Bradley Pacquiao fight, Max Kellerman talks. Maybe it's just one of those things where the judge was sitting at a particular angle, and often at most times of the fight, he was just seeing a certain angle that no one else saw, and he just happened to score it accordingly from that angle he was watching
Yeah,
the fight,
and-
which I'm pretty sure happened to all 3 judges.
and-
But
and-
all 3 judges to be
and look, you're 100% accurate
Yeah.
because I've been in front row fights and live fights, and I see things that when I go back home and I watch it the next day, I'm like, oh shit, it's different, and this is why I could see why certain people viewing it on TV could have a different view of it, but no,
Still the Masputa.
no, if you were live and look, Abner Maris, Al Bernstein, they all had the same, in some ways, response, and their reaction were similar to mine. Were like, not in the same words, but what the fuck moment,
Yeah.
like
you
shock.
you can put that decision along with like some of the worst decisions. Like I remember Paul Williams versus Erislandy Lara. They called it a draw when Erislandy Lara worked Paul Williams. Like we talked about, Pacquiao Bradley won. Pacquiao Horn, even though that was a lot. I mean, closer than the Mariñez and Rolly fight. I remember also the Joel Casamayor versus Armando Santa Cruz. That was a robbery and a half too.
You could also put up for debate Oscar De La Hoya Trinidad. That's up for
yeah,
debate.
yeah. I mean,
Especially most biased fans.
Yeah,
they-
I mean, but at least they were close.
They
But
was
this,
close, yes,
this
yes.
is not even the scores weren't
No,
even
no, yeah.
like maybe the one scorecard was 115, 113. That's not as egregious. But how do you have 8 rounds for, or how do you have 7 rounds for Rolly? Even just to have 7 rounds for Rolly was just like crazy.
yeah, it
Or
was-
even remember that one card with Canelo versus Mayweather. One judge had
Oh,
Canelo
yeah.
winning,
And that's what started the whole trend where it seemed like Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, was paying
yeah.
off at least one judge
Yeah.
in every fight. But
That's
this was
crazy.
3
Yeah.
judges.
I'm gonna let you finish your rant because you seem
That's
very
it. I'm-
animated.
I'm
about
pissed
this.
off.
Allegation.
Let me just take a sip of this.
Take a sip of your cervecita.
Because this boils my blood. Because you want your favorite sport to be well respected
And
and
honest.
honest in terms of decision making, results. But a few words to end off this segment. I'm still disappointed, and I have no words now, guys, because I'm pissed.
You know, listen, we love boxing, and we've followed boxing very thoroughly for a majority of our lives. I mean, it's nothing new. Politics, behind the scenes drama, blah blah blah. But the one thing that it just bothers people, like insiders and casual fans, is just bad decisions. Julio Cesar Chavez versus Pernell Whitaker.
Oh wow.
That was another one. It's just then you also have what are other bad ones I could think of off the top of my head. I have to look it up, but I'm saying it's just one of those things that we as boxing fans are accustomed to, unfortunately. Now it's like now we come to the expectation where, like, if there's a promoter, like for example, seeing Garcia versus Luke Campbell, right? If it's a very, very close fight, very, very close fight, are we saying Luke Campbell is going to win? If it's very close. If someone's telling you Garcia Campbell is very close, who wins that fight?
Off of popularity, Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. Right? We're already accustomed to the fact that
Yeah.
whoever is
It's
the
crazy to
more
think about.
popular fighter or the more backed up fighter is going to win.
And look, I'm going to give you guys an example. If you want certain new fans to come into the sport and watch it as a fan's perspective,
You're right.
you got to look at it in similar ways where we get invested in a fight. Throughout the rounds, you get highly emotionally invested, and you see one fighter individually winning the fights, winning the rounds, and thinking as a neutral fan, like, wow, this fighter, he's gonna win it. But to see the results in the end of the fight that he lost, it will make certain fans just like disgusted and like. No,
Just be like, it's a turn-off,
How
just
do you
in
how,
general.
how do you get highly invested and then have to digest all that? It's a bad taste.
Like in other sports, it happens very rarely. Like in NBA, the only thing I could really think of off the top of my head was the Sacramento Kings versus LA Lakers
Oh my
in 2003, Game
Yeah,
6.
he always rants about that.
Oh, yeah, God.
Now that you mention that, is that in regarding to a rig because
Yeah,
of a referee?
supposedly Donaghy, Tim Donaghy, the guy who was the NBA ref who was popped for betting on games, and he said that was one of the games that was
He said
rigged.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
Sacramento was going off that whole
Sacramento
series.
was definitely going to win that series up until that thing. Yeah.
At least in that sense, it came to a closure where he got, they actually busted him for betting.
penalized him.
Yeah.
In boxing,
Penalized him.
this is nothing new. This
Yeah.
has been going on for centuries.
Or even in like NFL where it just be a bad call, and it's just a bad call, not necessarily like conspiracy, but just a bad call. But in boxing, it's like there's conspiracy theories, there's like certain things, and it's nothing, like you said, nothing that we're surprised about.
No.
Yeah. KJ, on you now. Now that we were ranting, I know we gotta move it on. Well, who do you have as your mas puta?
Oh, my mas puta of the week goes to the New York Knicks.
And I know, let me just walk away real quick because I'm already boiled up.
Raul's face said it all. Raul's face right now was similar to when that time where he realized he lost he left his wallet when we were going to Atlantic City.
That's an amazing.
It's like
story.
it's a mixture of panic and I have to take a shit. That's what it looks like.
I think there's moments in your life where you experience something so dramatic and crazy, unexpected, where you get that gut feeling where your stomach drops, and then it leads to wanting to take a shit. That's kind of how I felt.
That's how you make your faces. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, anyway, KJ, go continue. Why we already discussed why the Knicks are trash, but please elaborate why they're.
I
they're
mean,
mas
for me,
puta.
they're my pick of this week for the mas puta of the week, only because, man,
Typical Knicks.
I mean, I really thought they were gonna draft LaMelo if they got one of the top 3 picks, but man, sucks.
You know what's the
8,
funny
That's
thing?
not even 5. That's not 4. That's
But
not 3.
You know what's the
that's
thing?
8.
We don't even have to elaborate why the Knicks are on our mas puta list for people to understand.
Facts.
To agree to disagree, right? Is it their fault they're trash in terms of this lottery draft? It wasn't.
No, I thought it was unfair.
It was unfair.
Yeah.
We could agree that yes, the Knicks are probably handled pretty bad in terms of back offices, ownerships, I would.
James Dolan is the
And
worst.
you know what?
owner
I'm
in
not
the
gonna.
NBA.
I'm not gonna name his name because I'm scared that I'm gonna be banned from entering
Oh,
MSG.
shit.
Yeah, or you may be banned for life from wearing a
So,
Knicks jersey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say shit. I'm not gonna say anything bad about him because I still do when things start reopening in terms of
Yeah.
sports.
When's the last time you felt good about the Knicks? 2012?
This
8
is-
years ago?
When
is-
Jeremy Lin Sanity.
Oh, Lynn Sandy was great. Yeah.
Maybe it has to do with Stoudemire, Raymond
Oh, yeah.
Felton.
Damn.
Yeah, that was
Felton.
2012 when
Yeah.
Mike Woodson, he brought him
Yes,
to
yes.
the playoffs with Melo and all that.
Which he's coming back to the Knicks organization.
Really?
Not necessarily as a
Coach?
as a
Oh,
coach, but he's gonna be involved,
Oh, okay. all right.
heavily involved.
I think, I mean, he was the last time, he was one of the last time the Knicks were good. So.
yeah, he
successful.
gave them a spark for sure.
Yeah.
But adding to what KJ was stating, yes, they're the Masputa of the week, which hurts me. But is it their fault in this?
No, it's not their
lottery
fault,
draft?
but they are the most put to do it.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. With that said, I need another beer, guys.
Oh, God.
All
All
right,
well,
Kyle, you're my
Kyle.
sport of the week. What's up? Talk to me.
I'm gonna go with I had a couple options, but I'm just gonna go with going back onto the Romero Marinez fight. I'm gonna go with Rolly Romero, simply because of how he conducted himself after getting such a gift decision. He was just so like, oh yeah, I won that fight. I controlled the fight. Just basically ranting on the YouTube channels and ranting on his social media. And listen, if you have to justify your win on social media to the fans out there, then you clearly didn't feel like you won the fight. You know, like he probably deep down, maybe he does think he won the fight, but he's like, oh, fuck, man, I look like shit. And he was talking so much shit beforehand about how he was going to make it like a destructive knockout, blah, blah, blah. And then you see him fight, and it's like, bro, he's so stiff. For a lightweight, somebody at 135, he's so fucking stiff. And so, like, just trying to every land. He looked like a typical amateur fighter, trying to go for a knockout every chance he get. And even amateur fighters know that they got to go for points, you know. And he was just going for knockout shots. He looked awful. And then, listen, you can have a bad night. Had he been more thoughtful and pensive after the fight, like, you know what, I'm gonna go take a look at the fight. I clearly didn't want to. I didn't perform the way I wanted to perform, and you know what, I promise the next fight, I'm gonna give him a rematch, and I promise you that there will be no argument on who won that fight. Trust me, I will come back better and stronger, and I will prove in the rematch that I am the better fighter. I give everything I wanted to do in this particular fight, but you know what? I got the win, and we're going to go to the drawing board, and we're going to make the rematch a more decisive win than anything. If he would have conducted himself like that, then I would have been like, you know what? I respect that. Hey, you got a gift decision, you know, recognize the fact that you got a gift decision, or at least recognize the fact that there's something going on. But no, he was unapologetic. He's like, yo, I won that fight. I controlled the distance. I controlled it with my power. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, bro, the only thing you controlled was the sound. Because all I heard, because there was no fans in there, is meh, 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 meh. That's how he sounds when he every time he throws a punch. So you know what? My Masputa for this week, Rolando Romero.
And you could also add his coach too.
Yeah, and fuck his coach.
As
Please,
a
come on,
combo,
man.
as a combo pack.
Yeah, dude.
combo package.
As a trainer, you should also recognize the fact that your charge got outboxed and outclassed, and you shouldn't be. You should be like, hey, you know what? As a coach and the trainer, you have to be more level-headed and you have to be more humble because you're a trainer. So had you been like, you know what? There were some things we have to work on. We have to go back to the drawing board. I believe we won, but you know what? Clearly, we have to, fix some things in my fighter. I believe in my fighter. I think he's a champion, and I believe that he needs to do more. Cool, but he was like, nah, I'll go back to the drawing board. Also, just as boisterous and as just like unapologetic. And you know what? Fuck you too. You know, you gotta conduct yourself like a professional in a way like, hey, you know, we knew it was close, you know, and we have to do better, you know. And, you know, that it is what it is. So, my Masputa, Rolly Romero, and his trainer, I don't even know his name, so whatever. He's on the list, too. All right? Goats of the week, guys. Goats of the week.
So-
Raul, start us off. Who is your goat of the week?
GOW.
So vice versa, equivalent to what you were saying, my go to the week has to be Jackson Mariñez. Just because how classless the whole Rolly camp was. Even though Mariñez lost the fight, the class he had afterwards in his post media fight, interviews, was incredible. I mean, one quote that I have here is, "Congratulations to Orlando. You are not to blame for the judge's decision. Continue to train."
Look how classy.
Did you see
Look
that?
how
You're
classy.
not ready to fight the top fighters. Be more humble. That's worth more.
And that is really refreshing to hear, because usually boxing is all about shit talking, especially in today's age with social media and going back and forth in social media. It's good to. I like to hear that. You know, somebody with class and being humble.
And look, if I was in his position, forget about it.
Oh, you would have been going off.
I would have.
Your Aztec warrior would have come out.
I would have, and you guys know me. When I'm mad, I'm mad.
Oh yeah.
So I would have a lot of shit to say, but no, you know, he had class. He had his head held up high and actually took the high road.
Yeah. I'm very. I was reading about that, and it's refreshing. He clearly went to the Manny Pacquiao school of conducting yourself professionally. Yeah.
And I think long term, his reaction and the effects that he has now would eventually land him more and great fights in the future.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. He would have been interim champion, beaten a up and coming name, and he would have been in line to fight to fight other champions. You know, and you know he's a Dominican fighter. There's not many champions from the DR. So he would have been a Dominican, even though interim champion nevertheless. You know.
And look, do I want to see Mariñez fight? Hell yeah! Now after the performance he had, and the result, I want him to fight. I want him to have a successful career. Do I want to see Rolly fight? Yes. Why? Because I want to see him get his ass whooped.
Yeah.
Not because I want to see him have entertaining fights.
Yeah.
After this and how he rebounds. As harsh as it sounds, I want to see him fight, but mainly because I want to see him lose.
Yeah.
Get his ass whooped, maybe.
Yeah.
I gotta watch this fight, man.
Yeah, we were talking about how Rolly would bring up Teofimo and like, oh, he came back out. Yeah, but Teofimo also recognized that he had a bad performance against Nakatani. He was even saying like, I mean, whether you can accept his excuse or not, he was like, oh, I had family issues. It was on my mind. That's why I didn't have a great performance. At least he recognized it was not a good performance, right? Well, but Rolly was like, nah, I won. Whatever, bro. It is what it is. But, it's good to see a boxer, especially in today's day and age, be humble and conduct himself professionally.
The class.
And just be very classy, and I wish Jackson Mariñez the best. I hope he gets another title shot. I hope he can, make a name for himself and make some money, like I said, there's not many championship boxers from the DR, so I hope that he gets out there. Yeah. KJ, who's your go to the week?
My go to the week is gonna be Marlon Vera. And not for many reasons,
Miñano.
to be honest.
Miñanito.
I mean, he's Ecuadorian. I got to root for my guy.
That's right.
Knocked him out in the first round. Let's get it.
There we
he's
go.
My age too. He's born in 1992.
Guatita all day, son. What up?
Well, yeah, I love the Guatita. By the way.
Riobamba stand up. Chimborazo stand up.
Chucha. Yeah, Marlon Vera, my go to the week. Yeah, man, would be excited to see more fights from him, if that's possible in the future.
It kind of reminds me of how kind of we discovered Manny Pacquiao. Like, we just saw him randomly. We're like, oh, there's a Filipino fighting. And I think we saw him against Barrera. That was the first time I saw it by accident because I was watching HBO. I'm like, oh, shit, there's a Filipino fighter. That's what's up.
Marco Antonio Barrera.
Yeah, great fight.
Yeah, he's a beast, too. Those I actually want to go back to watch those old fights of... Those are great fights.
Oh, like we were talking about Morales Barrera. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but continue.
Morales was a beast. Yeah. Oh yeah. So let's get back to the Ecuadorian and my go to the week. Yeah, it's
let's
like
get back to caldo de bola. What up?
Ooh, what is it, guatita? Yeah, that shit is official.
Caldo de salchichas. Caldo de bagre. I don't even speak Spanish. I just speak food.
I mean, that was my go to the week. What about yours, Kyle? Who's your go to the week this week?
We didn't cover it, but I just wanted to cover it a little bit. There was a championship fight between in the women's ranks. We had Cecilia Bracus, the first lady of boxing. She's one of the longest champions in women's boxing history. She's the welterweight champion. She's the unified undisputed welterweight champion. She holds the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO titles.
Damn.
And
She's the champ.
and she hasn't lost in a very long time.
What's her name again?
Cecilia Bracus.
How do you spell
it? Cecilia, and then so she is actually Colombian. She was adopted by a Norwegian couple, and she was raised in Norway. And she is a Norwegian sports hero.
Oh.
One of the most important women boxers in women's boxing history. And she actually, she suffered the first loss of her professional
Wow,
career.
she's cute.
She's very pretty.
Oh,
She's
cut
very-
that out. Sorry, guys.
No, she's a very
very
pretty woman,
beautiful.
but she's also an incredible boxer.
She's a badass.
She's a volume
Yeah.
fighter. She's a volume boxer fighter who likes to mix it up. She lost in a majority decision loss to Jessica McCaskill, underdog from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a close fight. A lot of people felt it was a draw or Bracus kind of like edged it out. But an exact opposite reaction that we were discussing with Rolly Romero. She lost a close fight, and both fighters showed incredible class. So much so that there's a video online that has Jessica McCaskill actually give back Cecilia Bracus her belt
Wow.
in honor of her what she's done for women's boxing, and in honor of, even though she won the fight, she respected the resume and the caliber of fighter that Cecilia Bracus was. And in addition to that, Cecilia Bracus, who has always been known as like a female type of Manny Pacquiao, very humble, she said that,
Everybody gets compared to Pacquiao.
because I'm a Pacquiao fan, but Bracus
Sorry.
was very gracious and graceful in defeat, and she gave McCaskill all her credit, and it's just great to see sportsmanship on such a high level, especially in elite boxing where shit talking is so common. And you know what, shit talking is fun and all that, and like we have champions that talk a lot of shit, and even in the women's ranks we have what's her name again, Clarissa Shields.
Yes.
She's very brash, and there's nothing wrong with that. She's very brash and very braggadocious and talks a lot of shit, but it is also refreshing to see two professional boxers in the women's ranks show such class.
Yeah,
And
to add to the build-up you were saying, it's part of the sport.
Yeah.
it's a technique where it goes back from day one, where it's a method of getting into somebody's head, your opponent's mindset, and kind of like messes their ego, their strategy a little bit. It definitely starts up a spark. Robert Duran was very known to do that, and this is why he got a decision and a win against Sugar Ray Leonard.
In the first fight.
First fight, yeah. But it's part of the game. But it's one thing to do it to a certain extent, but it's another thing to go as classless.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. And it's just seeing how Bracus was very, humble and losing her first professional boxing match, losing her undisputed status to an unheralded fighter that was a major underdog, but also for that, same underdog to show that same class and coming back, giving Cecilia Bracus her props, and also going back in the back room and just both fighters, congratulating each other. It's very similar to like how Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti, after that hellacious wars that they had,
yes.
they ended up becoming best friends, and very, because they recognized, game recognized real, game recognized game, and they recognized each other's, and on top of that, we're just both great guys. So my go-to of the week are Cecilia Bracus and Jessica McCaskill. Two fighters in the women's ranks who showed what boxing, the best of boxing can be, and I'm very, them showing what they did makes me very proud as a boxing fan. That's what I want to say.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So guys, episode 5, we wrapped it up. We got the first 4 episodes in. Episode 4 is going to be posted up. I already finished my beer, but I'm going to give my pound.
We're going to cheers to
We're
that.
going to cheers to our 5th episode. Hey guys, we just want to let you guys know that we will be expanding our exposure. We're planning to get out on Apple, the podcast, SoundCloud, and hopefully Spotify, which we have friends that will be helping us get our podcast on those platforms. Right now we're on YouTube as of right now, but we will be getting on. We'll be expanding our exposure very soon. We just want to thank you guys for sticking around with us. Beginning this endeavor, and we're 5 episodes in. Hopefully we can get to 100, 200, 300 episodes, and hopefully you guys enjoy our content as well. Do you have any words, guys?
No, yeah, I think you said it best. We're trying to reach every platform there is in podcast world. We want to welcome you guys as friends, just to hear our opinions. We're not perfect, but we're working in progress in a way. Yeah. If down the road,
hopefully we get some guests here too.
Which we already have a couple in mind.
Yeah.
Hopefully we reach out, and guys, thank you for listening in, tuning in, and we're promised from this point on, we're just gonna get better.
Yeah. What about you, KJ?
Yeah, no, damn, just lost what I was gonna say. Yeah, I got nervous. No, I mean, I was gonna say,
brain fart.
Damn. Hold on, I was gonna say, catch us on YouTube, tune in, Honey Bunches of Goats podcast.
Also catch us on our Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Instagram and Honey Bunches of Goats NYC as of right now.
And KJ, what's your personal IG account?
My personal my personal IG account. I don't even know. I'm kidding. It's KJ_ Ayala. If you guys want to follow me, holla at me. Let me know.
My
also please comment, like, subscribe on those videos.
Please.
We would love to hear your guys' opinions because you guys are part of the show as well.
Please debate with us.
Let us know. Yeah, definitely.
My Instagram is Illmatica, ILLMATICA. That's it. Follow me on Instagram as well. Raul?
Mine is just one simple word, which is my first name, Raul, RAUL. All in one word, last name, Navarrete, NAVARRETE, with 16 on the end.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll probably put those links in on YouTube.
We're gonna put
in the description.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Honey Bunch of Goats podcast. We out.
Later.
Thank you guys.
Later, guys. Peace out, guys.
Deuces.
Have a good night.